Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Quick movie review for you, that being for the new Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot movie, Death on the Nile. Okay, yeah, so Kenneth Branagh is back directing and starring as the character Hercule Poirot. Now, I did enjoy the first film, Murder on the Orient Express, so I was quite looking forward to seeing this one. And yeah, because I like Kenneth Branagh, I think he's a wonderful actor, I think he's a great director. Now this film, obviously, it's just pretty much come out now after a lengthy delays for one reason or another. We won't get into that side of it, with what some of the actors, or one of the main actors, has got up to in this sort of a thing, putting it into a bit of jeopardy. But yeah, so this film has got a star-studded cast: Annette Bening, Russell Brand, believe it or not, French and Saunders pop up. Yeah, you know, Wonder Woman herself. Yeah, you know, there's a wealth of actors, acting talent within this film, and obviously Kenneth Branagh headlining as Hercule Poirot. This is based on the book Death on the Nile. So there's a group of people, there's goings on, someone gets killed, because I ain't going to spoil it for you, and Hercule Poirot has to do what he has to do. So I'm not going to talk about the story, because I don't want to spoil the film for you, but I'll talk about the film and what I thought of the film and its production and its story and all that sort of stuff, the acting, etc. Now, first off, I will say that the film does start with a fantastic black and white flashback to a young Hercule Poirot with a sort of de-aged Kenneth Branagh in the trenches, World War One, and it's essentially an origin story. It's an origin story for Hercule Poirot's moustache. Yes, believe it or not, it is it's a story for why he's got a moustache. All right, it leads a bit into the film and him being in love and being interested in a woman, but essentially it's a moustache origin story. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so as this film carried on, you know, when French and Saunders popped up, I was like, okay, that's kind of taken me out of the film. Didn't really reckon that. Russell Brand popped up. I didn't even recognise it was Russell Brand at first until a little bit later into the film. And I thought, you know what, I don't like Russell Brand at all. I really dislike the guy. But he was really good in this. I thought he'd done wonderful acting. Now, Kenneth Branagh, he's brilliant as Hercule Poirot. I love his Hercule Poirot. I loved him in the first one. Although his moustache has shrunk somewhat, I liked his moustache in the first one. Yeah, if you go by the moustaches, first one was the best. Yeah. Now, the story for the film, it pretty much follows the same story as the first one. It's, you know, it's kind of like a rehash of that sort of story, and a whodunit all the way through, someone getting killed, everyone sort of having a sort of potential involvement in the killing. You know, they're all suspects and this sort of thing. No one else around at all who could be anything but like the first film. So it kind of takes me out of the film in this sort of a sense, you know, the sort of writing in that sense. Now, there's nothing wrong with the directing. I think the film would have benefited, I don't want to say it would have benefited from being longer, but I felt like it rushed over certain points and things happened without fantastic explanation. The biggest issue I had with this film is the whole film felt fake. It felt so fake. Everything felt so green screen. I'm talking when you had Egypt, you know, the backdrops of Egypt or the Great Pyramids and them on these little sets with green, it just didn't feel real. It felt like I was watching these people walking around sets, the entire film with green screen backed behind them, and I didn't like that one bit of it. I didn't get a sense that Egypt was hot. Not once did someone ever wipe sweat from their brow or anything like that. I get a sense that they were in an air-conditioned studio. That's how I felt. You know, because when I watch these sort of films, you know, films set in this time period, in these hot places, I'm always amazed that people could wear the clothing that they wore in these hot climates, because it amazes me. You know, I'm in a, you know, if I go to somewhere like Egypt, I'm in like shorts and a thin t-shirt and I'm sweating buckets. And these people walking around in shirts done up with ties, and they're not even breaking a sweat. They're not rubbing their brow or anything. So that sort of thing takes me directly out of the movie. But yeah, it looked too neat. It looked too nice. It looked too colourful. It looked too crisp. It just looked fake. Everything looked fake around them, so I didn't like that one bit. Yes, very studio bound. But beyond that, like I said, French and Saunders popping up. You know, even in this, they're a double act. I didn't like that. There is a bit of, it does play into sort of modern, you know, sensibilities in having a sort of an agenda, in that it goes along with, or we've got to have a potential interracial relationship put into the film. We've got to have lesbians put into the film. This sort of a thing, things that just wouldn't have been, you know, back when it was written. There would have been, you know what I mean? But you've got to fit them in to appease certain audience groups and this sort of thing. I don't like that. I don't, you know, I'm not knocking these people for their life choices and what they, I've got no issue with that. I've got issue with it being drummed into me, into my head through this sort of media. Yeah, and when it's a period piece like this, it notices more. Do you know what I mean? That there is no bigotry from people because someone wants to be in a relationship, an interracial relationship. Well, there's no bigotry towards people who have same-sex relationships. It's like it's treated as a norm, but in them days it would most definitely not have been. Yeah, so that side of it just again takes me out of the film. It's not needed. That woke bashing just doesn't need to be there present in these sort of films. But I don't know if it's a studio mandated agenda that it's got to have it, or people feel they've got to, like, you know, they've got to tick these boxes because they've got to be, I don't know, it just bugs me. It really does bug me. But yeah, so for the most part, it's nowhere near as good as the first one. I do have this pre-ordered, I will say, on Steelbook, and I'm thinking of giving that a knock now. Beyond Kenneth Branagh, like I said, Joe Brand was a standout in it, but beyond Kenneth Branagh resuming the role of Hercule Poirot, and I love Kenneth Branagh in this role. I think he's fantastic. His accent is fantastic. I think he delivers a sort of element of humour at times, which is fantastic. I just think he's superb as his character, but this film for me just didn't particularly work, and a lot of it was I was taken out of the film by the background green screen effects, by some of the casting choices, and this agenda that had been stuffed into the film. But beyond that, yeah, they're my thoughts on it. You know, I don't think I'd like to revisit Murder on the Orient Express, but the end of that did bug me that everyone was involved. And yeah, so but this one I think I can maybe cancel that pre-order. I don't think I'll watch it again. If I do pick it up, it'll be when it's very, very cheap, on a sale, probably just the Blu-ray, if anything. But anyway, so that's it. A quick chat about this movie, Death on the Nile. Yeah, so this is AJ. Thanks for watching. Please consider hitting the subscribe button, coming and supporting the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below on what you thought of this movie, or whether you're going to watch it, or whatever your plans are with it. Other than that, I'm getting going. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and